Hello, instructors and staff of CS200. This is my submission for the final project. My name is Mayooran, and let's start with my first view. So here we have a customer information layout. And so how my database is really set up is, let me show my tables. So I have a customers table, purchase table, and stores table. And so you can see my primary key as the customer ID. I also used store ID as my primary key for stores. And for certain purchases, my primary key would be my order ID. And so I also have my foreign keys that kind of tie these tables together. And so just the gist of what my database is all about is it's basically managing like a computer parts store. So we have the customer's information. We have the information of where that customer is buying this item from, so the store. And we also have the product information as well. So this is kind of establishing those many-to-many table relationships. And I've also created my data validations and proper field definitions by making sure that my primary keys are unique, that they're also required, and that these are also auto-generated by like an increment of 1 from a standard variable set. And yeah, so here we can see my customer information entry layout. And essentially what this layout would do is we'll find customers that are already registered within the customer table, or we can also add new customers here as well. So I have my 3 main headers over here. We can see that I can access the sales and the stores and customer information that we're already in. So for example, if I wanted to search for another customer, what I can do is we can see here that it says already customer, click the registry search below and select your customer ID. So that's what I'm going to do. I can search what other customers I have here. So for example, if I were to I see here, pull up their information. I have their email, the last name, first name, their customer ID, phone number, and also I'm using this portal to establish those one-to-many relationships. I can see the products that they purchased. And what's really cool about how I kind of designed this layout is that you can actually click on the item and it will bring you to the store and a little preview of kind of what the image would look like. But essentially this kind of gives you information about the store as well. If you click on the information, we can go back to our customer information over here and we can see that we can actually click on any of these. So for example, and what happens is if I click on the item in the store's layout, a little preview of the item will occur as well. So I thought this was a fascinating kind of cool way to kind of show my data viewer on the web page. And it also gives me the store address, the store ID number, and the street. Let's say this is also kind of like the street name, store name that I maybe need to change that label a bit. But yeah, essentially this would be the store name. And yeah, so here we can go back to see our customer information. We can also see their payment information. So payment information is also within the customers table. We have this information. We also have additional information about their address if they wanted to provide that. It's kind of stalkery, but we have this information as optional if the customer is willing to share their address to buy this product. I guess you can think of it like a maybe like a billing address for their payment information. So yeah, I've also included within my portal, I created kind of a total cost value of, so here I can see that there's the specific value of each item, let's say of this video card, we have quantity of 2. So we have 2 of these cards. And what's smart about this total cost is that it will multiply the cost each by its quantity and make sure it adds all the values within this portal, let's say right here, into the total cost kind of field, right? So that's pretty cool. Another big feature that I've created for this is I can add a new customer as well. So for example, I can click here to add a new customer. I have this little card that opens up and I can enter my information. So we already see that customer ID already being auto-generated. We can see I can write my, let's say for example, if I were to write my name, let's use my Waterloo email maybe, put my phone number as well, have my street number. Let's just make up a name, Foot Crescent, Mississauga, and my card type. So here I have a drop down to kind of show my card type. Also my card number. And let's say my expiry is here. And then we also have my CS fee. And so I can click here to confirm my customer information. And this is going to give me another card to store the purchase information, because what's the point of having customer information if you're not buying anything, right? So here we're going to pick an order type. So what type of component for your computer? So let's just say I want a processor, okay? And let's say I want an i5, Intel Core i5 processor. I want 2 of these. And normally these cost around $299, I think. And let's say the order date, I'm going to say that it was, I made this purchase maybe February 25th. And the store ID, it kind of gives you a list of store IDs where I can go and choose. So I'm going to pick 7. Okay, and I'm going to confirm. Awesome. So that means my information is stored in the registry. So how do I know this? I'm going to create a search. I'm going to search for my last name. Oh, well, there's 2. I think that was an old record, so I'm going to choose 39. I'm going to find, and I can see here that I have my processor information. And on top of that, we can kind of validate here that since I have 2 of these, my total is going to be 598. So my calculation's working. Payment information's here, additional information's here. What's cool about this, I can click this. It'll take me to my store ID 7, because that's the ID that I chose, or what the person would choose when they're ordering. And we can see here that the total cost, the quantity, information about the customer, their order ID number corresponding to the store information, and where I can go to kind of make sure that I'm getting my component at this address. Okay, awesome. So that's kind of my stores layout and my customer layout. So we have the additional sales. I have my sales summary here. And so what's happening here is that I can sort my products, and I can see here that information is posted by product. So the product type essentially. So this information is organizing all the products within that type. And it's going to give you a total by that type as well. So multiplying the quantity by the total cost of each product and adding them all together, giving you a grand sum. And so this is really useful if you want to see what's how much revenue we're kind of receiving per product type, or per product if you're necessarily looking at one specific row. And what's even cooler is that we can actually take this even a step further. We can go to the sales chart, and will display information of the grand sums by product type. And essentially this is what we have. So what's really important that I do have all my tables out here. Since I'm using a lot of buttons, there are a bunch of scripts as well, ensuring that I do have 2 per table, kind of over here. And if I were to kind of talk about, let's say, my records, so what we can do here is we can go to my tables, specific fields. So I do have a bunch of fields. So a bunch for the customer. Remember, we're getting their billing information, their address, their full name, customer ID. We're making sure that we are validating the information. We're also making sure that it's unique for the primary keys. Here, yep. For purchases, we can also see that the order ID has to be unique. It's a required value, must be validated. It's also auto-entered, like a serial number as an increment. We can also see the same idea happens with stores as well, right? And making sure that some of the values are also required. I haven't made all of them required because that's kind of redundant, but I do have the most important information as required. And we can also see my summary and a calculation parameter for one of my tables. And yeah, that's essentially how it works. Another important part to go over is that we have to remember that we need to click this Start Registry Search button before we click this, or else we won't be able to enter find mode. So I kind of made it clear by clicking the registry search below and then select your customer ID. But hopefully that's clear enough. I did use portals to show those one-to-many relationships using a global navigation bar. I have created scripts that create new records using such button like this, find records using such find record like this, and sorting records like as you would find in my sales summary, right? So after, let's say if I were to search someone else, all right, we have Courtney Cox. So here we have the power supply. We can see that it's order ID 5, but I don't know what store this is being ordered from. So I can click this, see that it's from store ID number 9, the store called Best Buys. So we can see here that we have elements of contrast where we're using, let's say, a lighter background such as yellow and white compared to the text as appearing as black. So this kind of avoids elements as appearing nearly similar. So we can see that contrast is an important feature when we're creating a layout. Another thing is using repetition. The visual elements that you can see in the header are similar to layout, and we can also see this blue accent bar is also being repeated through each page. So repeating colors, these textures provide a stronger organization and unity of each layout as a whole. We can also see a strong sense of alignment of the text and the field boxes to provide that alignment that nothing can be really spat out on the page arbitrarily. Every element should have some visual connection. So we can kind of see that here by kind of enforcing that strong alignment across our text and our boxes. And this provides a good connection for all the elements. We can also see proximity. So for example, the customer information is all in one. We can also see all our portal information, all the products is one, and it's all organized. So these parts, these elements that you would see in a layout, they would appear as one unit rather than separate units. So for example, instead of saying that the first name is on this side and last name is on this side, email and phone, it's kind of all organized in this corner over here, providing that connection as that it's being similar information that's being grouped together rather than separate units. So this kind of gives the reader an easier way to read the information that's provided on this layout. Perfect. And I think that's about it for all this information. Thank you for taking your time and watching this video. This is Mayooran, and I want to say thank you to Professor Barbara for giving us an opportunity to learn in FileMaker. It was a great experience. Uh, Thank you so much. Looking forward to maybe seeing you for other CS courses. Thanks. Bye.